Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy's Big Adventure, Returnal, Godfall, Demon's Souls. Man, I'm still just completely in love with my PlayStation 5. It's now been about 6 months exactly since the PlayStation 5...
Okay, where is this going? What's going on, YouTube? It's Guthan Knight here, coming at you with yet another video, and we're gonna react again to another PlayStation 5 fanboy. Just going over, his video. We're gonna watch it, break it down a little bit. He's mad at IGN, and let's be completely honest here, guys. IGN is in my opinion, a crappy gaming journalist site and channel. So having to defend IGN is pretty sad, but you'll see once we get into it. DreamcastGuy, who, for whatever reason, if you're a fan of the Dreamcast, you're a fan of Sega, and Sony kind of helped put a giant nail in the coffin for Sega when it came to video game consoles. So it's kind of ironic that he's a Sony fan. But without further ado, let's get into this guy's rant. The Dreamcast guy, some of you may know him. He puts out just quality content.
And the Xbox Series X have come out. Now, let's just be clear, both of these systems are fantastic. I'm not going to act like one is a complete freaking piece of junk and the other is a masterpiece. Both of these systems are definitely different and good in their own way. But today, IGN has...
I still think they're both worthless at the moment, but okay.
Decided to stir up some nonsense and pretend there's a gigantic console war and say some utter freaking BS. Also, today we're going to be talking...
Oh, what is that BS?
Talking about the fact that
there's who cares?
PlayStation 5 control here. Now, let's start things off by taking a look at the tweet that seems to have the internet on fire. Now, brace yourself. This is some fanboy stupidity. This is the director of IGN. This guy is pretty dang high up. This is not just some random journalist.
Alright, so as you see here, the tweet says, since the launch of Next Gen, I've done a complete 180, and at this point, I wouldn't really recommend a PS5 to people, not until it has more games. Get a Series X and sign up for Game Pass. Well, I can agree to that if you have to get into Next Gen, but personally, still stick with your Xbox One X and get Game Pass.
It's not some random freelancer. This guy is way up at IGN, and last night he randomly dropped this. Since the launch of Next Gen, a PlayStation 5 to people. Not until a second here to digest this ridiculous opening statement. I would not recommend the PlayStation 5, not until it has more games. That's pretty funny, but let's just actually
let's just watch what he does.
Look, the Xbox Series X is great in a lot of ways. It has more power. Quick resume is fantastic. Personally, I think the Xbox controller is a little bit better than the PlayStation 5.
It's always better than the PlayStation 5. Here, give me a second. Let me grab my DualShock. Alright. Grab the DualShock. Alright, guys. Got the DualShock. Now, let's come in here and let's grab an Xbox One controller. Alright. Let's put one in the hand. Xbox controller. More comfortable. More economic. You guys know. And you look at this fucker. It's cramped. Your thumb's hit. Now I'm sounding like an Xbox fanboy, but it's a controller that even Nintendo copied. So obviously it's working.
Even now, but we need to just look at the facts. PlayStation 5 has more console exclusives than the Xbox Series X. So saying that the
that's gonna change soon.
Series X has more games is a bit of a strange statement when it still currently is just boosting older experiences. But let's take a look at the rest of this. Get an Xbox Series X and sign up for Games Pass. I play an Xbox game literally every night.
Stick with your Xbox One X, tell you, for a while, and then get Game Pass. That's what I'm going to say. Blah, blah, blah. The PS5 library. We'll get there. And the thing is he's reading way too far into this tweet. Pretty much, I'm pretty much thinking that like he's like it's not worth it because one, yeah, you can see there's $70 games. Most of those games you can play on your PS4 Pro anyway. That's why I'm also saying Series X, just stick with your Xbox One X and get Game Pass. But I at least see where he's going with this.
Effective about this
Obviously, Dreamcast Guy does not.
ridiculous statement. First and foremost, the biggest thing that Xbox people talk about is backwards compatibility. Now, I'm not going to be one of those PS5 fanboys that acts like that isn't a great feature. The fact that I can take any of these hundreds and hundreds of games off my wall, plug them directly into my freaking Xbox and play them, upscaled 4K a lot of times, 120 frames a second, that is definitely an impressive feature. But here's my thought. PlayStation can do that as well, just not as old of games.
Yeah, because you can only do PS4 games.
You can do every generation of Xbox runs on the current Xbox. That's definitely an impressive thing. But to act like the PlayStation doesn't have games, there are 4,000 PlayStation 4 games, almost all of which, 99.9% of that library, also works on the PlayStation 4.
But how many of those will you actually play out of that 4,000? Because I know there's thousands of games on Xbox, but I won't play them all either.
And you know what? I'm going to go a step further. A lot of PlayStation stuff is dirt cheap now. A lot of PlayStation 4 stuff is already on sale. Is it Games Pass price? No, of course not. But these experiences are still good, and it's weird that people just kind of hand wave them away. I'm going to do something super ridiculous here I've never done before. Let's just talk about the size of the PlayStation 4 library. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to...
What did he just say? PlayStation 4 library? What? Guess what? Keep it on your PS4 then.
My freaking games. Let's take a look at this. So, literally, I can just stack these up all the way...
So he's going off about PS5 has no games. Proceeds to grab a ton of PlayStation 4 games. He's oh my goodness. He's reading too far into that tweet and not taking it correctly. The dude literally said there's no point in buying a game for $70 when you can go buy it for $60. Or if you just get on Xbox and get Game Pass. A lot of those games too. You can just play on Game Pass. Oh my god.
To the freaking ceiling. So, whenever people say that the PlayStation 5 doesn't have games, whenever you want to act like Game Pass is such a better deal.
Because it is.
Game Pass is fantastic. Game Pass is cheap as hell. It is a tiny monthly fee. I give it credit for that. But the fact that there is still just thousands and thousands of games that will run, that are great, that are freaking good deals on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 is something that is too often disregarded.
But those games you can play on your PlayStation 4 and those games that are coming out that are $70 freaking dollars. Also have a $60 variant on your PlayStation 4. And a lot of them have, some of them, not all of them, have free upgrade. Huh!
Both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X currently have gigantic libraries of games. If you want to talk about the newest and greatest experiences like Cyberpunk 2077 or something that's a bit older, like...
which you can play on both consoles and even last gen, and even better, PC!
My point is that I'm tired of this it's got no games argument from everybody because it's flat out not true. Like, straight up, at this point, if you want to act like Xbox has no games, you're wrong. And additionally, if you want to act like the PlayStation 5 has no games, you're still freaking wrong. Games Pass is a great deal, but
But the Xbox Series X and the PS5 don't have any just exclusives that take advantage of those hardware. They're also on last generation hardware.
Regarding all the freaking amazing experiences that have been coming out over the course of the last bunch of years just because you want to try and play this console war fanboy BS. My point is, not only are these experiences great, most of them are dirt freaking cheap. These games are still freaking super good deals. You can get some physical discs. My thought is this. whatever you want to play, wherever you want to play, I think it is absolutely worth it. I'm going to go a step further. I think that if you're able to have the pocket change for it, I'm very glad that I own both the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 because both these systems are freaking good and they're going to keep getting better. Telling anybody right now that a certain system isn't worth it is flat out untrue.
Bullshit. Both systems aren't worth it. Sorry. Xbox Series X/S and, well, the S maybe depending on your situation, but the PS5 and the Xbox Series X aren't worth it at the moment, in my opinion. The One X does great. Your PS4 Pro honestly still does great. I actually loaded up my PS4 Pro yesterday and was playing Horizon Zero Dawn. Great. Great experience. I loaded up on my PC. Freaking fantastic experience. You can still have a great experience with last-gen consoles. Why spend the extra $10 or why spend the extra $500 if you can actually get it at retail for the consoles when last-gen experience is actually really good if you have the mid-cycle refresh consoles. Now, if you're stuck with the original PS4 or original Xbox, hoofed. Okay, fine, I can understand it, wanting to get up there, but there's no point in them at this very moment yet.
And even more so, the fact that it is a director of IGN, this blows my freaking mind that anybody would try and play this card. Like, the fact that I can stack this up, and I still have literally shelves full of games behind me. Like, these games are still good. And this doesn't even talk about the fact that the gigantic digital libraries that both these systems have, the amount of digital-only games that exist on Xbox and PlayStation that are still mind-blowing, to me, those deserve the credit. And the fact that they just constantly try and disregard them, to hand-wave them away, to me, is not just stupid. In my opinion, it is ridiculous. It makes you look dumb to act like any of these systems aren't fantastic. Oh god, I'm gonna drop these. Oh god. Oh god.
What was the point of putting that in the video? Literally no point. Who cares? They're PS4 games.
Oh god. The point I'm trying to get at, though, is that the PlayStation 5 does have great games. And in fact, I'll say that...
Yeah, it does have some great games. But you can also play them on PS4 Pro. Just saying.
The $70 price point is still a bit ridiculous. The fact that...
And that's what he was getting at. The $70 price point's ridiculous when you can usually get all those games on Xbox Game Pass or an Xbox or your PS4 Pro. Like, it's not worth it.
I have to pay such a gigantic markup to play PlayStation 5 games. I'll be the first to say that I love Returnal. $70 is a big chunk of change. My thought is that going forward, games are still getting better. The library of experiences keeps getting better. The times, the multiplayer, the open worldness, a lot of these games keep managing to improve. But to act like specifically the PlayStation 5 is having a library problem when we're about to get Ratchet and Clank, we've gotten so many good games so far. I mean, the fact that you're trying to act like this is still going on, it's straight up console war BS. When I see
no, it's
stuff like this,
it's literally just because if you look here, but it's $70. You know, he's just getting at the fact that yes, the PS5 is a good system. Don't get me wrong. It's just not worth it at the moment when you can have the same experience on last generation consoles. Or in this case with the Series X and Game Pass, it's cheaper. And you have more of a library for $10 a month to, grab a game. And for a year of Game Pass at $10 a month, that's less than 2 PS5 games. There you go.
I'm going to be mean here for a second. As you can see, I've been following Error Justin on Twitter. I've been following this guy for a while. Justin, this is dumb. You're clearly just trying to bait the console war BS. And the most annoying thing is that the amount of people feeding into this, like the amount of people that are jumping in here and being like, oh man, yeah, you act as if people can't play over 4,000 PlayStation 4 games. Like,
yeah, but when you don't have any real reason to upgrade, yeah, the frame rates can be better, the fidelity can be better. But is that worth right now spending the extra $500 and then the extra $10 a game? Is it really worth it right now? No, it's not. Like, just, it's not.
I hate this kind of fanboy stuff sometimes because it's acting like certain consoles are just useless pieces of plastic and the other ones are the holy grail of gaming. Everything is good.
They're both just pieces of plastic with some PCB board in them.
Don't listen to this kind of stupid BS.
It's just him just babbling on about the new PlayStation 5 controller, like, bleh, who cares, you know? But my final thoughts are this. Personally, both next generation consoles aren't really worth it. I can see the market for the Xbox Series X or Series S if you have like the original Xbox. And, you know, $300 isn't too bad. And as long as you don't mind doing everything digital. Now, PS5 Pro, I do see that dude's point with the tweets. If you want to get a next-gen console, as of right now, the Xbox Series X with the Game Pass situation is a better overall deal. It's not that PS5 has no games. It just doesn't have any games that you can't play on your PS4 Pro just fine. So that's where he was going with that. Not saying that the PS5 Pro is a crappy console, because quite frankly, the Series X and PS5, they're not bad consoles, but just when it boils down to it, right now, the way Phil Spencer has situated Xbox, it's the best way to go at this very moment. It can swing back to the PlayStation 5. We'll just see. But for console-wise, just stick with your last generation if you have a PS4 Pro or the Xbox Series or One X. Just stick there. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Which way do you want to go? Xbox One X or Series X or the PS5 Pro? I want to know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. So until next time, guys, make sure you hit the like button if you like the video, dislike it if you dislike it, and subscribe if you're new. So this is Guth the Night, guys, signing out.